Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, DMC, in the place to be. But let me tell you something. There's only one place for all of you to always be, and that is at the Rock Office, because it gets no better than this. This is the place to be.
Hey, everyone out there. This is the Rock Office. It's time to clock in and rock out. I'm your host, Bill Smith.
And I'm Kevin Davis.
And we are back. Season 3. This is probably our most exciting season thus far, and we are pleased to be bringing you today's interview with Darryl DMC McDaniels of Run-D.M.C. And if you don't know who they are, you must have been living under a rock for the last couple of decades. The godfather of hip-hop, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. Going to be calling in here in a couple of minutes, and we're going to be bringing you that interview, and we are just so excited.
Absolutely. Season 3, got a lot in store for you. You've probably actually already noticed we had a brand new intro. We're happy to bring that to you, and we have a brand new theme song, which Bill's going to tell you a little bit more about the guy who brings that to you. It's a good friend of ours, Mr. Dave Tilson.
Dave, who has accompanied us on several outings and adventures that you will see throughout this next season 3, but he's an incredible musician, very gifted. He wrote, performed, arranged, recorded everything, this theme song. I think it's great. I think it suits us perfectly, and now we don't have to worry about the artists that we used before finding it and suing us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Maybe we'll get a chance to interview that artist now.
We don't have to
before, but
we don't have to worry about that.
We're a little afraid about that. Yeah.
So, Dave, we love the song. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave. So we're excited to bring you the interview with DMC. Was just signaled that he is, in fact, on the phone waiting for us. So what we're going to do here in just a second is we're going to transition to a slightly different shot, and Bill Smith, our own Bill Smith here, is going to talk to him, and we're going to go from there. So without further ado, we'll be right back, and we'll get you with DMC. All right.
All right, everyone, we are being connected with Mr. McDaniels, Mr. Darryl DMC McDaniels of Run-D.M.C. Mr. McDaniels, I want to thank you for calling in and being on the show today. We here at the Rock Office are honored that we get to have you as a guest, and thank you once again for calling. And I know you're a busy man. I'm not going to take up much more of your time than I need to, so I'm just going to get right into the questions. Your new song, Noise Revolution,
Right.
I got to be honest, it's not what I expected from you.
Why? I am the king of rock. That's real funny.
Right, no, you are. That's true. But what I meant was not so much the music, but the lyrical content. It just, it just seems like you're a little upset. Like, there's some things you want to get off your chest.
Well, I mean,
can you elaborate?
Right, I didn't really mean to be so political, attacking the government.
Okay.
But, when I found out that I was adopted several years ago, after doing everything I did with Run-D.M.C. at the age of 35, and this was a crazy period in my life, though, that led up to this. I found out I was adopted. Jay died. Jay got killed, and then my father passed away. So it was crazy. I mean, it was crazy for me. And then at that period too, there was just this void and emptiness in me, and that I was very, very, very alcoholic, like super duper, major, stupid, awesomely alcoholic. But I described this period of time as I was an alcoholic, metaphysical, suicidal, spiritual wreck. And all these things happened to me. But the funny thing is, when I found out that I was adopted, and I said I was adopted, then I found out I was a foster kid, I started dealing with all these agencies. People just, oh, wow, DMC's adopted, he was a foster kid. So they was calling me, could you come to the group home? Could you come to the jail? Could you come to the school? Could you come do a lecture? So I'm going all these places, and believe me, I'm miserable. I ain't want to do it, but I was like, okay, it's wrong not to go. So I go, and what's crazy is I find out how it really is in the world.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, I find out that this education system sucks. I find out the government don't take care of the people that we elect them to take care of. And I'm just sitting here. I'm sitting here not hearing grown adults tell me the problems of the world in the cities. You know, I'm hearing kids telling me how effed up their lives are. There's no after-school programs. The foster care agency is. Don't get me wrong. There's 100 good stories about foster care, but there's a million horrible stories of the abuse these kids go through. Then I find out that if the foster kids don't get adopted, there's 3 places for them to go: to jail, to the insane asylum, to mental, to the mental hospital, or they die.
Wow.
So I'm hearing about conditions that, how can these conditions exist in America when every time I'm on the TV, y'all saying how good it is in Hollywood and how rich our athletes are and how opulent and, outside of turning on and hearing about unemployment and everything the president can't fix. But I'm just pissed off because we do have the ability to fix it. And what I'm trying to say is this. I understand why you bailed out Wall Street, Obama. But if you could bail out Wall Street, you could take $100 million and give it to our educational system so that problem is not just diminished, we can alleviate it.
Right.
So the anger that you hear is the frustration of the people. And, I look at the politicians, I look at the religious leaders, I don't think they are doing a good job at all. The people, to me, that always did the good jobs were the artists.
Right,
and
yes,
About 6 or 7 years ago, somebody who traveled to Asia said that when he went over to Asia, they was trying to suppress all the arts. Because if you suppress the arts, that's how you control the people. And he just said these words to me. He said, every revolution begins with the arts. When they want to take over people, before they go in with the army and start shooting and killing, the first thing the dictator or the evil leaders do is go to museums and take all the art off the wall, destroy the sculptures, burn the books, arrest the playwrights and poets. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then, on that note, Noise Revolution just represents the statement that I made when I was on the Jay-Z Made in America thing. Music succeeds where politics and religion fails. And my idols is Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, when they made The Message, Africa Bambaataa, Public Enemy. But even, let's go deeper. The reason why I'm the king of rock is when I was a little kid, we had AM radio, right?
Okay.
So in my school, everybody was in the Jackson 5. All the kids was in the afros, high heels. You wanted to have afros and, the Black Power thing.
Okay.
But on AM radio, there was dudes like Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Neil Young.
All right, okay.
John Fogerty. And they were singing about whether it was the Vietnam War, whether it was Kent University, but even Marvin Gaye, Mr. Sexy Love Man, made a record called What's Going On. So, Curtis Mayfield, even James Brown, what he did for the rock. So, I think Noise Revolution is just me basically doing what all MCs are afraid to do now. To me, all hip-hoppers nowadays, all of them, all the popular ones, top dog ones are punks because they're scared to talk about the issues that affect the people in their audience. Even Run-D.M.C made It's Like That, and that's the uninformed, and everything we sung about in the old school era still exists today.
Right.
So Noise Revolution is just my updated way of making it like that. But I had to make a little more noise.
Nice. Well, that actually segues nicely into my next question, because I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the current state of music, and maybe specifically hip hop? What are you feeling with that right now? What's going on in the scene, according to you?
Well, and on that note too, see, when I speak at 49 years old, people go, "Yeah, but your era, you're from that era, Deep. You're wiser, you're more mature, you experience a lot, you're a pioneer, and you've been around for a minute, right?"
Right.
But then I say, yes, but everything I'm saying now, every record we made, people think that those artists you just talked about, those records with those concepts, ideas, and images, people hear those now and go old school. They literally think we were 50 years old when we made those records. Those MCs were 20, we were 19 to no older than 22 years old when we made those records. We were young people who weren't afraid to voice our opinions, but at the same time, we were young people responsible enough not to be afraid to live up to our responsibility. Now,
right.
We rapped about sneakers and money and stuff like that, but on our records, even if the drug dealer made a record about drug dealing, the very next record on that album from the drug dealer would be, "But you young people ain't got to do this." That's where the power came from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yes.
The power wasn't just in us giving a message. The power was, if I was 20 years old rhyming about economics, politics, and religion, the 20-year-old guy next to me looked at me and could relate better than hearing it from a politician or a preacher or pastor. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and
exactly.
Now, the only thing that is so shameful and disgusting about hip-hop is that the artists are not being responsible. You can make all the strip club records you want, but where is the record for the people that don't want to go to the strip club? Wow. See, it was a difference. I tell people, KRS-One, Run-D.M.C, De La Soul, LL Cool J, the PC Boys, Cool G Rap and Polo, Eric B. and Rakim.
Yeah.
The only thing that made us so great and legendary ain't because we started hip-hop and, Melly Mel, Kool Moe Dee, Vampire, the Zulu Nation. Zulu Nation was the biggest street gang in New York. But the only thing that made us legendary and made us change the world is we were responsible young individuals. It wasn't that I was a great MC in writing, which is true, don't get me wrong. We had the whole MC DJ thing down pat. But the reason why hip-hop became into existence, it had influence because the people doing it were responsible. You know what I'm saying? Even if you didn't know how to read and write, you did something to learn to read and write so you could represent this goodness that we had. And that's the only thing about it. These rappers nowadays, and these rappers nowadays only care about the show business, and I understand it. But they have forsaken their people. They have forsaken them. And this ain't one thing I like about 50 Cent. I loved him when he came into the business because he said, "I don't care about the culture. I'm here to get money." That's honesty. But you got these dudes right now profiting off this culture and acting like they all good, coming to give out their turkeys and on Thanksgiving and their coats, coat drives on Christmas. We gave something to the audience every day. And that's the only difference. We weren't afraid to be responsible. We were like, I describe it like this. We were young boys and girls, young individuals. Yes, we were stealing rock music and folk music. But we didn't just take the music and make records to make a buck. We learned about the artists that we took the music from. Right. So we knew, wow, man, if John Lennon could go sleep in a bed naked to protest, he's John Lennon for the Beatles. He ain't got to do that. If Neil Young could listen, I called out Obama on the record. Everybody had a fit, but Neil Young called out Nixon. Ten soldiers and Nixon. I'm like Fogarty, John Fogarty. These dudes, whether you agree with them or not, they wrote about the Vietnam War. They wrote about civil rights. They wrote about women live. And when you think about those rock guys, they were young in their primes too.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And, and it just disgusts me that as powerful as hip-hop is, it has no power. The only power hip-hop is being used for is to tell people what to drink, what to drive, what to smoke, how to have sex, but we are not telling these people alternatives, solutions, options, and opportunities of how to live.
Yeah, wow. That's some good stuff there. We're going to take a break real quick if you just hang on the line.
Right.
We want to give people a little sample of what you're talking about here. Here's a little clip from Noise Revolution, and we will be right back.
This generation has already had enough of war and hate and oppression.
All right! Politics is all about the music, not just a vocalist for your amusement. You know what the dollar gets to use and abuse it. Things that Obama did is room for improvement. Bailing out executives for schools and getting ruined. Why you thinking all the kids are always being truant? Hey, Mr. President, what the hell you doing? Hit the pressure bubble while the trouble is a brewing. We keep it alive, North Revolution. We keep it alive, yeah, cause everybody wants some long way to go. You keep me running out, keep it alive, the revolution started. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, don't gotta be a scientist for helping out the homeless. Politics and governments are spineless and bowling. Never would've voted for you if I would've known it. DMC ain't really mean, but I'ma do some killing. I don't care who you are, you don't harm the children. All the slap, but DMC is coming in the building. Talk this way and they all say that DMC is in the way. We keep it alive, North Revolution. We keep it alive, yeah, cause everybody wants some long way to go. You keep me running out, keep it alive. Let's get the party started, go.
That was a little bit of Noise Revolution. DMC, Mr. McDaniels, sorry, his new song we were just discussing. And Mr. McDaniels, I want to talk with you a little bit about the experience of being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What was that like for you? And what do you think that meant for hip hop?
Well, it's amazing because I think the word is inconceivable. Because think about this: just before the induction, just to be considered, this is funny, just to be considered worthy enough for a nomination was a great achievement. But then to really get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a venue of celebrated, accomplished, amazing artists whose music we used to steal.
Right.
We used to steal their music and use it and make all our crazy records. And in the beginning, all the critics of the world, you know, when disco died, disco was great for a minute. You know, there's some, Donna Summer, she transcended disco. But when disco started, you know, they made the saying disco sucks. As soon as disco died, that was kind of the beginning of hip-hop in that, 70s era.
Right.
And punk rock was, getting big. But when hip-hop first started it, what did they say about us? Not the rock stars. People like, rest in peace, Lou Reed. Lou Reed had Run-D.M.C. open for him.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And when we went out there, 80% of the crowd was booing. 20% was loving us. And Lou Reed, when he took the stage after us, he said, before I start my show, I need to address you people who was booing. And he explained to them, you shouldn't be booing this form of music. They thought we was a fad. They thought we was the hula hoop. They thought we was a swanky. And Lou Reed said, man, I see myself in these young people. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, there was a lot of cheesy rap, the rapping joke and, Saran rap. But he was looking at the Run-D.M.Cs and the P.E.s, and he explained to his audience that I see myself in them. And punk rock embraced us in the beginning. But to make a long story short, everybody was, this music is going to be over. And plus, they said we're not real because we don't even make our own music. All of that changed when we was able to go into studios and do drum machines and stuff like that. But to be considered worthy enough was a huge accomplishment. But to be inducted in doesn't mean that I'm famous, doesn't mean that I'm this genius guy, doesn't mean that I'm better than anybody else. People get it twisted. This ain't about record sales. This ain't about fame and fortune. This is about, did your music touch the listener?
Right.
Did what you represent and do touch the listeners? Now, it's all good that Run-D.M.C got in, right?
Right.
Chuck D said something very powerful when we went in.
Okay.
He said, and this goes back to our first discussion with him, how we are disappointed with hip-hop. Chuck D said this, "Yo, it's cool that Run-D.M.C got in." And I'm like, "Yeah, Chuck, but I ain't happy." And he said, hip-hop media, people in hip-hop do not know that Grandmaster Flash and the Furry Farm was the first rap group to get inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because of the message. And Chuck said it was a blip, not just in media itself. It was not celebrated one bit. It was a blip on black media. They didn't get no CNN covers. They didn't get no coverage on BET. They didn't get coverage on MTV. They didn't get no coverage on XXL. For that accomplishment of this culture, from BET to XXL to Source Magazine, they did not get a cover in 20 pages.
Wow.
That's disrespect. And what I tell journalists is this. I say, when you want to come and sit down and get the whole inside story of Run-D.M.C's rock and roll induction, because it's going to come. I said, before you come to me, you better go spend a week with Melly Mel and Flash and them.
Wow. I hadn't thought of it. I hadn't looked at it that way. But let me ask you this. In rock, there is a rich heritage of artists that are coming up paying homage to the forefathers or the trailblazers before them, if you will. And one thing I've noticed in hip-hop is that's not so much the case. I've noticed that, a lot of the newer guys are always, dissing the older guys. And I know for a long time there was a lot of, ragging on MC Hammer, like call him a sellout, and even Vanilla Ice to some degree.
Right.
But can you tell me, in your opinion, why do you think that, like I said, in rock, there's so much respect paid to the older, the people that came before, but in hip-hop, there's none of that. What are your thoughts on that?
I can tell you that why. I can tell you it's 100% why. You're right. Rock does it. The blues does it. Jazz does it.
Right.
Every other genre does it. The reason why hip-hop don't, because the people that control hip-hop could care less. So these people coming into the game are looking at the people that run the business. Setting it, when we was doing it, Russell cared. Rick cared. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All Mr. Magic and the Juice Crew, Fly Tie cared. All the people with early record labels cared.
Yeah.
But now they come into the business because hip-hop is this big business. These executives and A&Rs don't care. And I'm not saying care about just the culture and they don't care about the people. They don't care about the people that's on the radio station. I said something a couple of years ago. They got all these records on the radio getting radio play. None of these records is really hot because they just hot because people. I said you better watch out when you meet a guy that says I'm a program director. Program? That means you're programming your mind to listen. It ain't like a DJ could go to California. No, it ain't like a DJ can come to Cleveland. This is how it used to be. If I was a New York City DJ and I took a trip to Cleveland, right?
Okay.
And I went to Cleveland and went out to the club, or even if I went and heard Cleveland radio and heard an artist from Cleveland with one of the dopest records ever, I could go get that record, come to New York, and play it right now.
Okay.
Now you can't because everything is programmed. And that's why the people now, they don't care because the people controlling it don't care about it. We got to change it there. We got to show people we care. We got to start boycotting these stations. And don't get me wrong, you could play the Strip Club record. You could play the, Sip the Syrup record. But why, when you listen to radio, and there's a gazillion young a gazillion young MCs making positive records. My thing is this: if you're going to play the Chief Keef record, if you're going to play the who are 2 Chainz record, and if you're going to play who else is now out there now? Well, any of these other guys, French Montana record,
Lil Wayne, all of
right.
Right.
You have to play. You have to play the To Live record. The most you have to. And if you don't, it shows me what your station represents, and it shows me what you represent as a human being. And that's real talk. A couple of years ago, everybody was making an uproar because I said, Lil Wayne and Jay-Z ain't hot. That's not what I meant. They got hot through their hard work. People love them. People are going to love you whether you're pop, rock, or hip-hop. My thing is this. When you play a Lil Wayne record, when you play a Jay-Z record, when you play a Chief Keef record, 5 years ago, and this is especially for my urban brothers and sisters, 5 years ago, Grand Puba put out an album. And on this record, he had a record called I See Dead People, talking about Medgar Evers, and it was a dope record. And I'm saying, if young people would hear this, not only they would say, wow, that Puba guy, he's been around, he's a legend, but they would learn something. You know what I'm saying? They would learn something. So, and that's the whole problem. We used to wait to hear the Friday night and Saturday night Big Show. And on that show, you would hear the Ghetto Boys, but you also would hear P.E. and Gangstar. You know what I'm saying? You would hear the total representation of the whole hip-hop thing at one time. Now, there's a kid that probably raps like Rakim, right? And is as positive as Will Smith, but he will change who he is, the way he looks, how he rhymes, just to get radio play on Hot 97. Just to fit in. I don't think we never wanted to fit in. That's why our music was so diverse. It was like this, okay, we know Dr. Dre and they got that funk, that's theirs. That G-Funk is theirs. We can't dupe it, right? People knew we cannot touch the rock, that's running them lane. People knew we can't touch the James Brown, that's the P.E. lane. People knew we can't touch the Love record, that's L's name. When you look at those 4 groups right there, that's why you have a De La Soul. You know, that's why you have a Coogee Rap and Polo. That's why you have a Das Effects in the EPMD. Ice Cube said something so that's powerful. He said the old school will always be the best era forever. And the guy on the radio said, why, Q? Because it was so commercially violent. He said, no, because we were all from the same street corners, but we all represented something different to the listener.
Yeah. Wow.
Classic rock. The classic rock, when all I do is listen to classic rock. And from this point, I know Yellow Submarine. I know Sgt. Pepper's. But what about all the Beatles songs that I've never heard? If I hear a Beatles song tomorrow that I never heard, it ain't old, it's new to me, right? So I came up with this analogy, and people say, D, say that again. Classic rock doesn't mean old rock music. Classic rock means better than everything that comes after it for eternity. Same thing with old school. We played a J. Rule, the Damager record. One of Public Enemy's DJ Johnny Juice, every Friday, he would go to the youth center, and he would do Hip Hop 101, right? And he'd make the kid happy. He played the Lil Waynes and all the hot guys of the day, but then he would take it back to day one. He would work his way backwards. And this is a true story. He particularly played a J. Rule the Damager record, right? And the kid sat there and said, yo, when did this come out? This is incredible. Oh my, who is this guy? I want to get this now, man. And Johnny Juice said, slow down, young dude. Slow down, young dude. This record came out 25 years ago. And you should have seen the look on the kid's face, right? And then the kid tried to take a step back. He was like, oh, so that's old school? So then it was kind of like, okay, I can't get with it. But at the end of the session at the youth center, he goes up to DJ Johnny Juice and says, yo, excuse me, Mr. Juice. And Johnny goes, yeah. He said, yo, can I get that record?
Wow.
they're not exposed to, you know what I'm saying? Even though they rooted there. And Johnny Juice told the kid, yo, 25 years ago, this guy was better than all the guys you like out now.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. They're not seeing themselves. People say when we saw Run-D.M.C, we saw y'all being dope. He said, yo, y'all were like superheroes and gods to us. Wow. But they said we didn't see celebrity. We saw ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what's missing from this hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? And to give you a perfect example, I say this when I do my lectures. Rakim. Remember Rakim had to rhyme, I used to roll up, this is a hole up. But now I learned to earn. He didn't say, I'm Rakim Allah, I do stick-ups. And, you know, the whole world would have loved him. Oh, my God, the gangster rapper and embrace it. The power in Rakim's lyric was all the stick-up kids said, yo, Rakim the God MC said, I don't have to do stick-ups. And things began to change. A dude told me, yo, DMC, man, he called in the radio and he said, yo, DMC, man, you guys were like idols to, you know, you guys were gods to me. You guys were my everything. Like, he said, I felt I was DMC. And my cousin was Ron and my brother was Shay. But then he said this. He said, man, something amazing happened to me. And this is the significance of hip-hop. Because what happened to this kid is the same thing that happened to me when I heard Cool Mo D and Melly Mel. But he said, man, I thought I had everything. He said, I had my Kango hat. I had my Gazelles. I had my big gold chain. I had my Adidas suits. I had my Lees. I had my Adidas with no laces in them. I had my 40 ounces. I had my Mercedes Benz. I had my bag of weed. I had my boom box. I had my money in my pocket. But then he said, here comes my guy, DMC, talking how school is cool. And he said, when I rapped on DMC in the place to be, I go to St. John's, you know, he was like, oh, shit, DMC goes to St. John's University? He said, man, I realized I was lacking something. He just said this. He said, man, I went and got a GED. Because he said, I heard you and Run talking about, yeah, we got out. Russell didn't let us make our records until we showed him our high school diploma. So he felt he was lacking something. So he said, yo, DMC, I went and got my GED. So I could say, man, I got a high school diploma like Running them, so I got it all, right? But then he said, with that GED, I was able to take community courses at the college. And he said, because of hip-hop, DMC, I'm sitting in $1 million house with 3 cars outside, and I'm a doctor. That's powerful.
Wow. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's amazing.
We represent something, but at the same time, let's don't get it twisted. Run-D.M.C., we lived the rock and roll, we lived the sex, drugs, and rock and roll life. But the thing that's significant about it is we're a little different and responsible from everybody else. We never put those images and concepts on our records. Why? Because if kids want to wear Gazelles and sneakers and low laces like DMC and Run and J, what would have happened if we would have been preaching drink your full? We drunk them. We smoked. Run and J smoked more weed than Bob Marley. But we never put anything negative on the record. You know what I'm saying? What we did in the locker room stayed in the locker room. Now, people sell these negative or not so smart ideas just to make money. We never sold ourselves out, or we never sold the audience out.
All right, Mr. McDaniels, I want to thank you for speaking with us. I know we're out of time. I'm going to have to let you go. I know you're a busy man. I want to thank you just as a fan for creating or being a part of creating, hip hop, that whole culture, the everything that came with it, just for being a guest on the Rock Office. And, this really is like a lifelong dream of mine come through to be able to talk with you. And I remember being like some chubby little kid in the suburbs, trying to break dance and taking the laces out of my generic Adidas sneakers and, trying to rap It's Tricky.
Right.
And,
it's cool. People, like everywhere I go, whether it's concert interviews or whatever, businessmen, Chinese people, Italian, Arabs, they go, man, it's not that we grew up above y'all. In that whole era of hip-hop, us artists, we never put ourselves above the audience. So we grew up together. We are hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that I'm hip-hop and I do it and you praise it. No. What you feel that because you're already hip-hop. That's why people gave us so much slack when we went on tour with the Beastie Boys. After they walked this way, we went on tour with the Beasties and we did the Together Forever tour. And people was like, there's no way these white punk rock kids could get with these black B-boys from, New York City and something good's happened. But we went into every venue because rock and roll and hip-hop is the same feelings but different expression. Same feelings, I sum it up like this. The rock and roll punk rock kid, he wants Sid Vicious shirt from the show with the sweat and the piss and the blood on it. I want the Sid Vicious shirt that's brand new. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can stand in that audience and listen to the same music, and I always sum it up like that. And it's okay. That's why it works. That's why Travis Barker, he said the same thing you just said. Travis Barker, Kid Rock said Run-D.M.C. and Aerosmith had a baby, he popped out. But Travis Barker said something even deeper. He said when he heard Rock Box, it changed his life, which was before Walk This Way.
Wow.
So you're already there. You was already there. We was just a vehicle expressing what you already accepted. And all the Metallica heads. The dudes was like, we were strictly Metallica, but when we started hearing Running Them, we knew we could listen to both.
Yeah. Well, now that you officially said that I'm hip hop, then that's it. That makes it official.
Definitely, yeah. See, you just tell people you've been hip hop.
That's awesome. Well, listen, Mr. McDaniels, thank you so much. We are going to put your website and everything up for people to check out your new tunes. I love what you're doing. Please keep it real. Please keep giving that message out there that people need to hear. And I thank you sincerely, not just as a fan, as a music journalist, but the contribution that you've made to popular culture in the last 30 some years has just been remarkable. So thank you. God bless everything that you've been doing and that you continue to do in the future. And hopefully next time you come to Cleveland, we can hook up with you. So
okay, I'll see you soon.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That was it. That was our interview with Darryl McDaniels, DMC. Wow. I'm going to have to go back and watch this episode a couple of times to digest everything you just said, because I know there was some really good stuff, some really deep stuff in there. So go ahead and rewind this, or whatever you need to hear, because it has nothing to do with like us, but what he just said, what he said was so important. There was so much truth in that, and I just encourage you to check out what he's doing now. I know he's doing a lot of lecturing, a lot of traveling and speaking. Go to your local area where he's coming and check him out and just support what he's doing. He's still relevant. You might consider him old school, but like he said with the classic rock, the new stuff just can't compare. And even what he's doing now, I think still stands. So thanks for listening. Be right back. All right, there it was, Darryl McDaniels, DMC, the King of Rock.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
That was great.
It's incredible.
There's so much. I mean, go back and listen to that interview. There's so much he says.
There's some really deep points that he brings about there, and I tell you what, he's got some very very pointed viewpoints about, like the government and music. But I tell you what, man, I don't think he's off base one bit.
No, he hands down probably one of my most favorite interviews to this point. Just what a pleasure, what an honor to be able to talk with him. I want to thank Tracy, his manager, for setting everything up. She worked behind the scenes, and we had a chance to speak when we were doing the emailing back and forth, and super appreciative of what you've done, and just
a lot of behind the scenes work, Tracy. We really appreciate it.
We really do.
Very, very high class folks over there with DMC's management publicist. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, that was it. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know. Write something in the comment. Share it with your friends, other people out there that are into hip hop or not even hip hop.
Support this music, man. Support DMC and this new music coming out, man. I mean, this is new, old school hip hop,
right?
And you know what I mean by saying that? I mean, this is good stuff.
Well, I saw a sticker that said, "My favorite new bands are my favorite old bands," and I think this exemplifies that. The songs he's making right now, I think, stand right up with the stuff he's doing with Run.
Yeah, get out there, support this music. Buy it, show your love, man. I mean, just one of the true pioneers of hip hop, still doing it to these days.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, just like Uncle L, just like Chuck D, all those guys. I mean, the new breed of hip hop artists can't hold a candle to these guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne is whatever. I mean, these guys are. So, but anyway, enough on that.
Yeah, that's a different story.
So get out and support the music. Get out and support us. We appreciate all the support. Our Facebook and Twitter numbers have been growing like crazy. We thank you. We also want to thank everyone for their help during the Cleveland Scene campaign. We got nominated as finalists. We didn't win, but there's always next year. We so deeply appreciate your support, your voting, your sharing. For us to be where we're at and have that kind of an honor is just overwhelming. So we sincerely thank you for that. Also,
show your love, man. Get out, hit up our website, go to www.therockoffice.com. Check us out on Facebook. Continue to show your love there. Our numbers, like Bill said, have been going up. It's through stuff like that, social media. I mean, that's really, it's huge these days for everybody. But with that being said, the Cleveland Scene thing, they probably wouldn't have known anything about us had it not been for you guys, and we really appreciate that. So get out to facebook.com/rockoffice. Check us out. Hit that like button. Show us to your friends, your family, anybody that likes music. I think they'll like this show. We're going to be bringing a lot of good stuff to you here in season 3, and I think a lot of high class artists as well. So
we're also on Twitter at @the_rock_office. And that's about it. So I think we're going to sign off for now. As always, remember, support your local independent record stores by buying the physical copies of music instead of the digital downloads. And we'll see you next time on The Rock. Take care. God bless.